Hey guys, welcome to eBike Reviews and Adventures. My name is Richard, and today we're out riding the Emojo Bison Pro. So I don't know if this is going to be the video before the review video. I'm so far behind on getting this video out, but for a couple of good reasons. One, it just took a few days for us to get familiar with the bike, or the Trike. Number two, my wife got kind of ill and wasn't able to get out for about a week, and I didn't want to make a review video until she had a chance to get out and ride the bike so I could get her thoughts. And then I broke the bike. Yeah, the Trike. I broke it. So what happened is the bike has, I keep saying bike, the Trike has a bit of a shimmy in the front end. And I contacted support, and they said, just check a few things. And they had me make sure that the wheel was, seated correctly and installed correctly, and things were tightened down, and all those kind of obvious things. And I did that, and one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to tighten up the stem bolt, the bolt that runs down through the, if you can see, the bolt that runs down through the stem, and just make it a little tighter, thinking securing the wheel to the actual bike that way. Tighten all that up to make sure it was good to go. And what I found when I was tightening down on it with the Allen wrench is that it was snug, but it wasn't tight. So I turned it a few extra turns, and again, it was snug, but it wasn't really getting tight. And so I kept turning on it, and as a result, I broke the bike. So what happened is, let me stop here and show you. I can't really show you, but inside the stem here, there's what's called a star nut, and the star nut is kind of just jammed down inside the tube, and then the bolt from the handlebars that's attached to the handlebars goes down into that nut, and it screws into the nut, and that's what tightens everything up. So what happened is that star nut is simply wedged in the tube, and I was slowly pulling that star nut out until finally it popped out. And when it popped out, it was also bent and damaged, and I tried to straighten it to get it back down in there, and I couldn't. So the bike was out of commission for about a day. 2 days, actually, a couple of days. And so I went ahead and went on Amazon. I contacted Emojo, but I knew it was going to take them a few days, possibly a week, to get me the parts. And I jumped on Amazon, and luckily I found what I needed. I found the star nuts, and I found a handy dandy little tool that makes it easy to install those so they go in there correctly. And that was $15, so I went ahead and picked that up. Had it a day later and installed it, and everything's back to good to go again. But we still have a shimmy. So if you completely turn loose of the steering wheel, which is never advised, right? There's no reason to be doing that. But if for some reason you did, we're going at a slower speed now, but you can see there's quite a shimmy going on here. But I will tell you this, when you're holding on to the steering wheels, you don't notice the shimmy. So it takes very little pressure, by holding it, to keep everything nice and secure and smooth. So, and even one-handed, I can ride the bike one-handed, and there's no shimmy because it's all controlled easily. I don't have a death grip. I don't have a death grip on the handlebars or anything like that. But it just needs a little bit of human pressure there to keep it from shimmying. So I've been trying to figure that out, and I haven't quite figured it out yet. I have a suspicion, and my suspicions are, when I do the full review, I'll talk about this more, but my suspicions are it's just out of balance, the weight and where things are, because you got the rear end, which is kind of heavy, you got two batteries on the back, which is kind of heavy, then the rider who sits on the seat in the middle that kind of leans a little toward the rear, just adds a lot of weight on the rear of the bike. And on the front of the bike, you have a front tire, the basket, and the handlebar assembly, which doesn't weigh a whole lot. So what I need to do is I need to find some weight. What I need to do is find some weight and put it in the front basket here, and then see if that settles it down. And I suspect it's going to. So I think it's just going to be a balance issue, but more to come on that. So here we are, we're cruising along. We're doing about 17, almost 18 miles an hour now. Nice, smooth, comfortable ride. And I know one thing that probably the biggest concern everyone has about trikes is how much it tips over, how easily it tips over. And I'm here to tell you that sure, you can tip this thing over if you're not careful, but it's just about being careful in knowing the physics of the bike and how it's going to respond in certain situations. And I'll show you some more of that here in a few minutes in this video. But right now we're cruising along about 18 miles an hour, 17. And you can't see it on video, but right back there was these little dips you had to go across as you went across that drainage. Here's a little more of a dip going down. And another one going back up. And when you do that, when your rear tire, see, I need to turn loose the steering wheel here, and I can't. When the rear tires go over a bump, you want to go over, even like it's out of alignment. Look at it, it wants to go to the right. I'm just gonna have to stop here. Yeah, hopefully we'll get to the bottom of this. But when your rear tires go over a bump, you need to go straight over the bump so the tires hit at the same time, right? No wobble. But if you go at a little bit of an angle, and here's your bump, and this tire drops off, the bike's going to tip, and then this tire drops off, and the bike tips back, and that's where you get yourself into a lot of trouble real fast if you're not careful. For instance, going in and out of my driveway, I take it square. I take it straight on because there's a dip at the end of the driveway. And as long as you take it straight on, there's no concerns whatsoever. And again, I don't want to give away too much before I do the review video, but I will tell you this. When my wife rode the bike, her first ride, she pulled it out of the garage, down the driveway, carefully entered the road, and took off, and we were going. And we made a couple loops around our neighborhood, and one thing that she immediately said was, "This isn't bad at all." She's got really high anxiety as it is, and so she was pretty nervous about the whole thing. And once she did it the first time, she said, "Wow, this really isn't bad." And so now she's a lot more comfortable with riding the trike because she kind of understands that you're not just going to easily flip over. And I can make some, well, let me show you here. When you turn this trike, you just got to go slow. I mean, you can't go really fast with it, but look, I mean, that's a pretty sharp turn right there. And I just barely shifted my weight to the inside, to this direction. And the wheel didn't come off the ground. There's no concern there with the wheel coming off the ground. So that's one of the things we like about this particular trike over some of the others. It's only a couple of inches, but the rider sits a couple of inches lower on this trike than they do on some of the other trikes. And that's a huge benefit for a couple of reasons. One, it just makes it easier for people to get on and off the trike, especially if you're a senior or if you're someone with disabilities, some limitations, makes it easy. But number two, it just lowers the center of gravity just a little bit, right? It just drops everything down a couple of inches, and I think that couple of inches helps. Now you've got trikes out there that have much thinner tires, and I of course I don't have one of those to test yet, but I suspect that when you have thinner tires, it's going to cause the bike to be a little more unstable, whereas with these big 4-inch fat tires, which is one of the reasons we bought this trike, we wanted that feature, but having those 4-inch fat tires, it just adds a little more stability to it. Now here's going to be a good example. So I forgot again that they're still doing construction over here, and we need to go that direction, so we're just going to go off the curb. So let's show you what that looks like. There you go. And we're just going to drop the front tire down like a regular bike. So it can be done. Now I'm leaning significantly here. Get around that traffic circle. So you can comfortably pedal this trike. Oh, I don't know what we were doing, 13, 14 miles an hour. My legs are moving pretty good. Again, it goes back to how they have it geared, but or we can just use throttle only and zip on down the road. And there's 20. And there's 21 and a half. So it cuts out at 21 and a half, and then it kind of coasts along, and it drops back down, and then the motor re-engages somewhere around 19 and a half there. But guys, 20 miles an hour, and we're nice and stable. You know, if I had to make a quick movement or something, that would cause problems for us. But at 20 miles an hour, you can go nice and straight on a smooth surface, no problem at all. And I might mention that with that throttle, you can hit the top speed of 20 with throttle only, even if you're in pass 1. So you don't have to change your pass settings in order to get up there on the throttle. Now, of course, you do when you're pedaling. If you're pedaling, you're only going to go, I think, about 5 miles an hour in pedal assist 1. And then, of course, pedal assist 2 is a little bit more than that. So one of the things that I really like about this trike is that you can adjust your pedal assist settings in here. So you can go in and adjust, say, pedal assist level 1 and make it, when we first got the trike, I should talk about that too. So when we first got the trike, pedal assist 1, gosh, it ran up to 12 or 14 miles per hour, I think. And I had to reach out to the company, get the instructions on how to change it. But I went ahead and changed pedal assist 1 now, so it's like 5 miles an hour. So it's something really low and slow. So anyone who wants to learn, or someone who doesn't want to go very fast, they can use pedal assist 1, and it's great for when you're learning and getting familiar with the bike. But of course, you can do everything with a throttle here too. So you can just slowly engage the throttle, just give it a little bit of juice, and kind of maintain your speed and stay at a lower speed also if you want. So there are plenty of things that we like about this trike, but with any trike with any bike, there's always something I think can be improved upon, and there are a few of those that I will share with you in the full review video. And I know that there's a small handful of you that have been reaching out and been communicating with me that I know you're eager to see this review video. And like I said, we're trying to get it out as soon as we can. We had a couple of delays there. And this is actually the first time that I've had a chance to get it out of the neighborhood and do some riding with it. All right, so here we go. We're going to turn our corner here. No concern at all, right? Gave it some juice, leaned a little to the left, and away we went. I'm going to stop pedaling just because we're going a little faster. One thing about this bike is when you're trying to pedal and you're going up to that faster speed, as you pedal, you're shifting your weight back and forth, and then that makes the things a little bit more wobbly. So at a lower speed, no problems at all pedaling. But if you want to go to the higher rate of speed, you're going to have to probably just use the throttle only, because trying to keep up with the gear, and so you're not doing any ghost pedaling, you're just shaking the bike too much, and that causes a big hazard for you. I'm going to hop back up here on the sidewalk. Look, they have a turning lane and it goes nowhere right here. So a little bit of a dip here, crossing over, no problems. A little bit of a dip going up, yep, no problem. nice and smooth, and a little teeter-totter there, but nothing that even comes close to throwing you off the bike or tipping it over. So I'm real happy. My wife and I both are real happy with how the Trike is performing on little bumps like this. Now, you hit a significant bump, yeah, it might be a problem. You know, this is at a pretty good angle right here, so I am going to slow down a lot. This one is a little more straight on, so I can turn a little bit there, hit it straight on, no problem. So aside from, you know, riding a regular bike, it's just one of the things you want to watch for is, you know, make sure you know what your terrain is ahead of you so you can plan for it. Let's see what this one is. There'll be another dip right here, and it's a little crooked, so we're going to slow down. Not bad. And this one's a little crooked. We're just going to hit it like that, crooked. Yep, a little teeter-totter there, but nothing came off the ground. We're good to go. Here's something new, some railroad tracks right here. So let's get these railroad tracks almost square. No problems there whatsoever. Rolled right over it nice and smooth. And we're going to go for it. Country road, one car coming way down there. Hit this at an angle, a little teeter, no worries. Yeah, so we're very happy. Now the bike leans, I mean the whole thing leans a little bit. When you make a left turn, the whole bike, it's not straight up and down. It tends to lean a little bit, right? And part of it is, I think it's just a thinner designed frame. So there might be a weak spot there, I don't know. But I think it's just the nature of riding a Trike. So anytime you turn a corner or something, the bike is gonna lean. So as long as you counteract that lean a little bit and go the other direction with your body weight, heck, guys, it's no worries whatsoever. Now, all these things I'm telling you is on a smooth surface, right? Going across, you know, rough terrain, it's going to be different. Going across sand is going to be completely different. If I can find a fieldy area, I'll demonstrate that as well. I can't do this because there's too much of an incline, and we'll get stuck out there if not tip over. Oh, look at here. Well, this is just nice. So again, we have a closed sidewalk, so this is something new. This wasn't here a short time ago. So let's go off the sidewalk. Down with the front tire. Make it a little slower on the back tire. Yep, straight down, no problem. And here we go. Kind of going through the construction zone, but there's no bike lane, and I'm not going to get out there with traffic, so there's nobody working today. So we're leaning pretty good. I'm just going to lean to the left, lean to the right. Turn loose to the steering wheel at this high speed, mostly going straight, but it sure does want to pull to the right. And part of it is the road is, you know, slanted a little bit to the right for water drainage, but I did test it out in front of my house, and I turned around and went the reverse direction on the same side of the road, and it still tended to want to lean a little bit to the right. So something with the bike is causing it to want to go to the right just a little bit. And I hope I can figure that out. I may have to go ahead and take the wheel off, take it to someone and have them true it up. When you spin the tire, it's got a really small wobble, but nothing that I would think would cause this problem. I mean, all of the bikes I've ever had have a little bit of a wobble. Nothing is exactly true. So I don't know. Here, I'll even show you that wobble. So let's tilt this down. And I'll try to keep the bike going nice and straight. So I don't know if that's enough to throw this thing off balance and cause it to do what it's doing or not, but maybe. And I sure would like to get that worked out before I did the review video. But I'm just not seeing a lot of answers. So I jumped on a Facebook group for trike owners. And I asked a couple questions out there, and there are people out there that tell me that, a couple people have said, yeah, our trike does that too. But then there's a couple of people that said, no, my trike doesn't do that. So I don't know if it's just a problem with this particular trike, if it's a problem with this particular brand, or what the problem is, but I'm trying to get to the bottom of it before doing a full review. So we'll see. I'm going to slip up here on the sidewalk just so I can stay away from that intersection. A little bit of a bump. And we'll hit the button here. It's pretty warm today. It is cooking. It's like 9:30, 9:45 or something. And it is smoking hot. Entering the dog days of summer here in Florida. I tell you what, we've been hitting like 95 degrees every day and 50, 60, 70% humidity. So I haven't been riding as much. I just can't get out. I'm not going to torture myself. Right? No need to do that. So we've been going late in the afternoon, early evening. We're starting to do that some. And enjoying that. The thing about riding a regular sidewalk is you take up a lot of the sidewalk, right? Let me show you that real quick. Let me stop right here. So, these are great if you're allowed to ride on the sidewalk wherever you are, right? But you take up a lot of the sidewalk, right? So you don't have much space on either side if you're going to pass somebody who's walking or somebody who is riding another bike or something. It could cause a little bit of a trouble for you. So you have to be considerate, understanding of, hey, where can I go with this? So luckily we've got the sidewalk, or the area that we just came off of, which is got that 8-foot sidewalk. That's perfect. Sidewalks like this are not ideal. And me personally, being in traffic is not ideal, but that's just my personal preference. I will use bike lanes on roads like the one we just came off of that aren't very busy. I will not use a bike lane on a road like this because this road stays really busy all the time. So I'm not interested in doing that. So for right now, for the moment, we're kind of limited to, my wife and I are kind of limited to just riding in the neighborhood and down that little area we just came from, because we don't have a way to haul this yet, and that's something else to consider. Are you going to be riding it just around your home? Then it's not a big deal. But if you want to do some exploring, maybe do some touring, go hit some national parks or state parks, or whatever local venue you have that you want to go and check out, then you got to get your trike there. So our plan is that I need to get some ramps so that I can roll the bike up into the back of the truck. And I'm probably going to just haul it in the back of my truck. And then I'm going to get a regular bike rack for the hitch rack for my bike and for additional bikes. So that's the plan right now. Now, Emojo does sell a trike rack, and I think it was about $600, and so it goes on your hitch, and I think it requires, I don't know, I think it's a 2-inch hitch only, so it has to be the 2-inch, and it looks real nice. It looks like it'd be doing the job, but for my setup, I'm just not sure how well it's going to work, because if I put the trike on the hitch, that means I have to put a bike in the back of my truck. And I have a 5.5 foot bed, and so I only have about 5 feet of usable space. And a lot of these bikes that I own are, about 5 foot. So I can't really haul anything. I can haul one bike in the back of my truck. If I put it corner to corner, I can still get the tailgate up. And then with the tailgate up, I can put the trike on. So that gives us capability for my wife and I to go somewhere. But since I own multiple bikes, right, and I offer to loan out my bikes, and our kids now have bikes, when we get ready to go somewhere, if we want to go as a family to go do a family ride somewhere to where we have to drive to get there, then I really need the capability to haul a few extra bikes. So my plan is put the trike in the back of the truck, and because it's a folding trike, if it's a little too long, I can still unfold it and kick it sideways, and then probably get the quicker rack, which is unfortunately the most expensive rack on the market. That's why I don't have one yet, because it's modular. I can stick one tray on the back of my truck to haul my one bike, but when I need to haul an extra bike, because I'm got someone going with us, we can add a second tray, or a third tray, or even a fourth tray if I get that many. I'll probably just get 2 trays and be done with it. But yeah, so that's the plan right now. That is the plan. I'm not sure how far we went. We went about 4.5 miles, I believe. And yeah, just wanted to take you out and show you a little bit of the ride, as I'm getting familiar with the trike. Let's take a turn here. Bike leans one way, I lean the other. All is good. We'll get out here on this little country road, make a spin down there, turn around, and we'll call it a day. So in the full review video before you jump out there and buy this, there are a couple things you need to be aware of, and again, I can't talk about them just yet because I'm waiting on a couple of answers from Emojo, but one has to do with speed, one has to do with power, torque. That's something very important that you need to consider. The stability issue, we just kind of demonstrated that. Let's see, what else? What else? I don't know. A couple other things. The batteries, battery charging. I have some information there to share with you. So a lot of information coming out about things that we like, things that we don't like, things that we feel like we need to change, things that you probably need to be aware of before you jump out there and purchase it. I'm going to go ahead and turn around here. Look at that. You turn around pretty quick. You can't do it at a high rate of speed, but I didn't have any problems. And as a reminder, if you're new to this channel, I am 245 pounds, 6'1", so I'm a bigger guy riding this thing, and having no trouble with it. No trouble at all. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for this video. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you liked it. If you got some good information out of it, please let me know what helped you and what didn't help you. It helps me in future videos. And subscribe if you're new here so you don't miss that full review video, because it's going to be coming out here in a couple of days. I'll get it done here real soon. And then, yeah, so until the next video, ride safe.